It's Thursday, the 5th of January 2023. A very good evening and welcome to Eswatini TV News at 8. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Lindo Masugu. Standing with me tonight is Zaman Zimanze. Here are tonight's top stories. His Majesty King Eswatini III has commissioned the Dingaja Regiment from the Hoho region to march to Ngabezweni Royal Residence. Eswatini continue to attend the Likli in Kuala at a very high note at Eswatini Royal Residence, where they are led by Her Majesty the Queen Mother. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture has assured maize farmers who were affected by storm that maize which had not reached knee level has a potential of surviving. Well, let's get straight into the news in detail. His Majesty King Eswatini III has commissioned the Dingaja Regiment from the Hoho region to march to Ngabezweni Royal Residence. The commissioning event, which was conducted at Buhleni Royal Residence, was graced by the presence of the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, David Mabuza.
The regiment that comprises young unmarried boys was in a festive mood throughout the commissioning event. They displayed a readiness to be commissioned by His Majesty the King, who unleashed them to conduct sacred duties that have outlived hundreds of years. The Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, David Mabuza, was part of the event. The Deputy President is not visiting in his capacity as a government official, but purely as a Liswati. He is here to participate in the ongoing sacred Inkwala ceremony and to pay homage to His Majesty the King. He leads a delegation of chiefs and princes that are based in the Mpumalanga province in the Republic of South Africa. There was colorful and heartfelt song and dance that was led by His Majesty the King before he commissioned the regiment. The King was joined by Emakhosikati, their Royal Highnesses, Banfa Nkosi, the Prime Minister, and regiments. His Majesty the King commissioned the regiment through Indvuna Panginjobo Matisa.
Ngiyawulala eblanzeni ihlangana nani Nukusasa engabazweni.
His Majesty led the regiment as it left the royal residence, and the King was of course joined by his guest, the Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of South Africa. The regiment will arrive at Ngabezweni Royal Residence on Friday. At Butleni Royal Residence, I'm Sandila Makanya for Eswatini TV.
Maswati continued to attend the Little Nkwala at a very high note at Eswatini Royal Residence, where they are led by Her Majesty the Queen Mother. The ceremony is proceeding successfully since its commencement.
Regiments are still energetic in dancing the Liti Nkwala at Eswatini Royal Residence, where they are led by Her Majesty the Queen Mother. Maswati are taking part in this national event without fail, even in these heavy rains that the country normally receives these days. Also present at Eswatini Royal Residence to dance the Liti Nkwala are the Yamakosigati to His Majesty King Mswati III, the royal family, members of the cabinet and councils. The Ingaja regiment from all the regions in the country have started arriving for the Lusegwane ceremony. They are expected to be commissioned by His Majesty King Mswati III to cut the Lusegwane prior to the main day of the Nkwala ceremony. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia at Eswatini Royal Residence.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Sydney Smilane, has assured maize farmers who were affected by a storm that maize which had not reached knee level has a potential of surviving. Smilane says the minister was able to assess the situation and only a few selected areas like Nkoyoyo and Bolonjeni were affected.
On Christmas Day, most farmers were left heartbroken after storm destroyed crops. The Ministry of Agriculture has been able to assess the situation, especially in affected areas. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Sydney Smilane, says most farmers that were affected includes in areas such as Nkoyoyo and Bolonjeni. Smilane has assured farmers that maize that has not reached above knee level has a potential of surviving.
Sikhanza ukuthi tindzawo leti affectekile kakhulu kusembolonjeni lelela eMbabane.
Smilane says the erratic weather is as a result of climate change. He says that projections have shown that disasters will be more frequent and more severe. He says that the worst part is the fact that farmers will be affected. Smilane says the ministry encourages farmers to use conservation agriculture. Smilane says the ministry also encourages that farmers practice tunnel farming, especially in crops production. The Ministry of Agriculture has set a target of producing 140 metric tons this year. For Eswatini TV News, Ndomlangeni Mbonga Dube Mbabane.
The University of Eswatini is in talks with the Eswatini Revenue Services regarding its outstanding tax debt. The university has been given until March 2023 to sort some of its issues. This is contained in the Auditor General's Compliance Audit Report for the financial year ended March 2021.
Members of the Public Accounts Committee have asked several times who should pay tax if public entities are let off the hook. The University of Eswatini seems to have taken this in good spirit and implemented it, as it has already begun talks with the Eswatini Revenue Services regarding its over 688 million debt. The university has been given until March 2023 to deal with certain issues. This is contained in the Auditor General's Compliance Audit Report for the financial year ended March 2021. The report states that government deducts about 9 million emalangeni from the university's subvention to settle the tax liabilities. Above that, the university management was instructed to come up with a turnaround strategy. The report also states that the management will meet the University Council on this. The report adds that sometimes government does not release the full subvention due to UNESWA and further owes tuition fee for government-funded students. To try to keep its head above water, the university is using its company, Kagaza Holdings, to make money through farming, construction, textile, and installation of security cameras. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela. Babane.
The Eswatini Meteorology Department has cautioned Eswatini that on Thursday evening, heavy rains are expected. According to senior meteorologist Dumisani Stole, Eswatini should be careful in the country's roads, especially those who might travel at night.
Sibheke ukuthi kube netimvula lebheke ukuthi ticine and tibe close to widespread kulamhle ebusuku.
Stole says the Eswatini Meteorology Department Service has issued a word of caution that on Thursday evening heavy rains are expected. Sitole says the only difference this time is that there are no signs of hailstorm because there are not enough elements that can result to hailstorms. Stole says it is worth noting that on Friday there will be normal rains to light rains. Moreover, on Saturday it will be warm till Monday. Stole further cautioned Eswatini that these rains that the country is experiencing normally causes destruction of structures and roads. He says that those who will be traveling tonight should be on the lookout.
A suspect alleged to have lured unsuspecting women through social media and further raped them has been arrested. The suspect is said to be 30 years old. Police have invited more survivors of this alleged perpetrator to come forward and record statements.
Although social media has many benefits, some people continue to misuse it as a channel through which they commit various heinous crimes. As things are, at least 4 girls have been allegedly raped by a man believed to have been using a Facebook account under the name Blesser Cedric. Police say the suspect lured unsuspecting women through the social media platform only to violate them.
Sinendvodza leboshiwe ngekubambisana kwamaphoyisa kaManzini namliba bagcina babopha indvodza eneminyaka lenga-30 eminyaka budzala yalapha kaBhekinkosi.
She says they have a suspect who has been arrested through collaboration of Mliba and Manzini police. She also says the suspect is from Bhekinkosi. She further says the suspect used Facebook to lure women, then raped them. She says there are 4 cases that have been opened and ready for prosecution. She further says they believed there are more victims out there and would like them to come record their statements. Police have warned against using social media platforms for criminal acts. They have also asked the public to be extra cautious and vigilant when using social media platforms. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Mbongwa Dube. Babane.
A father and his 2 sisters have found themselves in court for the alleged assault of his daughter. The trio is alleged to have assaulted and strangulated the complainant. The matter was before Magistrate Sihle Dludlu.
Sifiso Mhlanga, aged 51, and his two sisters, Tembani Mhlanga, aged 52, and Ntombifuthi Mhlanga, aged 48, were arrested for the alleged assault of Sifiso's daughter, Pepisile. The three accused are alleged to have assaulted Pepisile with fists and open hands several times all over the body. The trio is also alleged to have strangulated Pepisile. Sifiso said he would plead guilty during trial, while Tembani and Ntombifuthi said they would plead not guilty. The matter returns to court on the 7th of February. In another matter, two accused persons aged 16 years have been arrested and charged with assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. They allegedly did this by assaulting and stabbing their peer on their way from school over a girl. The social welfare report recommends that the youngsters be kept in custody as they seem not to comprehend how they were wrong for doing what they did. The court exercised leniency as it remanded the minors out of custody until the 17th of this month for trial. Another case before the Manzini Magistrates Court was that of Nogwanda Mamba, who stole a mobile phone valued at 3,500 emalangeni from Tengetile Chibi and further crushed it with her hands. Mamba was ordered to repay the phone and further sentenced to 2 years imprisonment with an option to pay a fine of 2,000 emalangeni. The sentence was suspended while Mamba repaid the 3,500 emalangeni. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela, Manzini.
Let's take a look at the financial indicators. In your sports news, the Secretary General of the Eswatini Coaches Association, Musa Mamba, says they will this year have workshops for regional coaches in a bid to capacitate them. Mamba says it is important for young players to have the right form of coaching from a young age, which will also help them get used into taking instructions.
The Coaches Association says they want to increase the level of coaching this year, which is why they have plans to start helping regional coaches to get their certificate into coaching. The secretary of the association, Musa Mamba, says it is important for young players to receive the right coaching from the development stage so that they can be better players.
Kuna kusensitizer coaching from grassroots level. So sitsite stawuqala kuma regions. Elibonjeni sesile la khona bo coach labe bakhona nje bebang 41 sinabo kalanga ngemgcibelo kungumgcibelo nangelisonto. So sithi ke na kule weekend lesiya kiyo sitabe sinawo ema workshops ethu lenye itabe ila kaManzini lenye itabe iseshiselweni la khona sifuna bo coach bonke baka Super League na lamanye ema zones labanawo, so that is to ba sensitizer about coaching. Sikubita ke ngekuthi loku it's a pre-license workshop la khona sitabafundzisa without any pressure of kubhala i-exam. La khona batawufunza kuthi lokho labakutholile bambe bawukusebenzisa emathimini nase bakusebenzisa ke emathimini le bhola sitawuqala ke lapho siyithuthukise from kuma regions bathi badlali befika kubo first division befika kubo Premier League befike sebakwadi kwekuthenini kuba nemuntu embi kwabo lobanika i-direction.
The planned workshop will continue even this weekend, where coaches from the Manzini region and Lubombo region will be the ones visited. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patrice Msibi, Manzini.
Young Buffaloes head coach Mandla Dlamini says winning the first round carrot will come in as a bonus for them. Dlamini says their main target from the possible 9 points to still play for is getting at least 6 points that will put them into 28 points for the first round. Dlamini was speaking after guiding his team to a 3-2 win against Royal Leopard at the Mavuso Sports Center in Manzini.
Buffaloes have started this new season well as they have stayed top of the table for the better part of the season. After 10 games, the Army side is still to test defeat as they have managed to win 6 games and playing 4 draws. In the process, scoring 16 goals and letting in 7, which makes them have the better goal difference than the rest of the chasing pack. They have collected 22 points thus far. Mandla Dlamini, who is the head coach, has come out to say that their target is getting to 28 points for the first round. If those points give them the 100,000 emalanga carrot, then that will be a bonus.
It's not ukuthi inakhuza yethu lesiyibukile sengaba ibonus kithi, but nje going forward thina sitarget ukuthi at least nasicetha le first round at least sibe nayo 27 or 28 points nasicetha le nakhuza le first round, meaning the games lesiyakiwo siyawatsinga at the point, but nje target yethu is just getting 28 points, then we're done for the first round.
Buffaloes are still to play Manzini Seabirds, which is their next encounter. Second place in Babane Highlanders, and the last game will be against 7 Drums. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo Msibi, Manzini.
And that is how we reach the end of tonight's news bulletin. But before we leave you, here is a reminder of tonight's top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III has commissioned the Tingaja Regiment from the Hoho region to march to Ngabezweni Royal Residence. Emaswati continue to attend the Likli in Kuala at a very high note at Lutsitsini Royal Residence, where they are led by Her Majesty the Queen Mother. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture has assured maize farmers who were affected by storm that maize which had not reached knee level has a potential of surviving. Well, that's it from us. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.
Save more with our back-to-school low prices. ShopRite. Lower prices you can trust. Always.
Why should we pay our TV license?
The content on our local television is actually more up to date. The industry is enhanced.
It is a criminal offense not to pay your TV license and attracts a fine